Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome in. My name is Zach, and this is my buddy Scott. This is actually Futon for Thought. We kind of tweaked the name a little bit thanks to our first guest today, which will be coming later. Sorry. So anyway, other than that, what's been going on with you this week?
Just working. Looking forward to a nice Labor Day 3-day weekend and enjoying some needed time off so I could work around here. So
Right.
I'm ready to go back to work to get away from my time off.
Right. You get away from work to do work. I mean, I feel you the same thing. I mean, for us, we just had a little birthday thing with the daughter yesterday. Went to dinner, took her to get her ears pierced. Fun, busy day. Plus, her best friend came and stayed the night, so it was a pretty fun weekend. So on today's show, we are
what's up?
going to be talking a little bit of wrestling, professional wrestling, sports entertainment. There's so many things or ways to call it. I mean, professional wrestling as a general or a whole started way back in the day, I want to say maybe 50s. I'm not 100% sure, but I just know back then they had the territories. You had the South and the North and the East and the West, and all up and down. They had all different territories and all different, that's where pretty much you started instead of like it is now with WWE or AEW or New Japan. So let's see if we can see if I'll just go ahead and say it. Our first guest today is going to be none only the drummer from Redline Drive and also the drummer from LA Rocks, Mr. Drew Dye. So that will be fun whenever he jumps on here momentarily. Let's see. He says he's hopping on right now.
Bet.
Okay, looks like Drew's about to join us, so give us a second. While that happens, let's see. So obviously Scott and me are a little different in age. So he grew up with like Ultimate Warrior, King Kong Bundy, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage. I mean, obviously I watched those guys growing up too, but not as much as you did. But also it was different because you lived in Virginia versus Texas. So
Yeah, we didn't have it. We just had what was on TV. My idea of wrestling was what the high school kids did. And then the first time I went to join the wrestling team, and I thought it was what the guys on TV did. Not the same thing.
No.
So I didn't, I came along. I'll be honest, most of my knowledge with wrestling comes from playing wrestling video games.
Okay.
I really, back in the day, the Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
That had the, Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. I watched that, but after that, it wasn't nothing. But then when Stone Cold came out, and I want to say, stunning Steve Austin at first.
Yeah.
And then when he came Stone Cold, I was dedicated for that 5 years that he was active. And it was
it was longer than 5 years.
Well, that he was active.
No, it was longer.
Yeah, I came in at the end.
Okay, yeah.
So,
I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin, like you said, he had the stunning Steve Austin, and that was in, if I'm not mistaken, WCW. And then he went from WCW to WWE, and he tagged up with another guy, and it was like the Hollywood Blondes.
Mm-hmm.
They were the Hollywood Blondes for a minute. And then whenever he switched over, because you got to think wrestling was family fun, whatever, until the early 90s. And then
the Attitude Era.
The Attitude Era. But see that what Attitude Era did is it brought all the stuff that you were seeing in music videos and movies and all those sexual innuendos and stuff like that. Oh. Got somebody sitting there. Give us a second. We're about to bring him on. Mr. Drew Dye. I see you, bud. Give me a second. Bro.
Yo. Hey, boys.
How are you, bro?
Hey, man.
Hold on.
We got to.
Hold on. I got to get some audio.
Am I not on?
Is your mic muted? Or
No.
It says you're.
No, just click on it.
Well, it says it's unmuted. Everything's good.
That's weird. Hold on. Okay, like settings. That's so weird.
Did I do it wrong?
Hold on.
Yeah, Drew, you might need to make sure your mic is unmuted.
Your mic, you're good though, yeah?
Yeah.
Weird. I can read lips. He said, yeah. So.
Give it.
Oh, dumbass, dude. We can't hear him because we don't have the volume on my fucking TV.
Oh.
So I hear him now.
Oh, okay.
Are we good?
This is
Sorry.
going to be fun. All right.
Anyway, Drew, how are you, bud?
Are you good? You got me?
Good.
There we go.
Good, man. Good.
Okay.
So before we get started with what we're going to talk about, I want you to plug anything you got. Shows coming up, your Instagram, Twitter, your OnlyFans, whichever you got.
I'm not on the OnlyFans yet. I haven't done that yet. So, yeah, we got some cool shows coming up with LA Rocks. That's my big 80s big hair, not big hair. Well, I guess we do all have big hair, but 80s tribute thing, big production, all that. We've got the Sugarcane Festival coming up September 23rd. So let me check that real quick. I think that's right.
Nice.
Yeah, in New Iberia, Louisiana.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll share.
Yeah, if not, whatever you got, man, we'll share it. We'll share away.
Yeah.
So my first question for you is, what got you into drumming?
Got me into drumming? Well, technically it was my uncle back when I was really, really young. And he had the really super long, cool hair. He had the cool clothes. And he had this drum set that literally took up a whole room. It had the big rack system and all that stuff. And when I was, 2, 3, 4 years old, I'm climbing up in the middle of it, and he's yelling, "Get out of there!" But it kind of made me, I don't know, it kind of planted the seed. And obviously, I was around a lot of really great musicians when I was younger too. So,
Bear with me, dude. Okay.
I was kind of around that a little bit, but I didn't start drumming until I was about 14, 15, something like that. Yeah, 14. And I would sneak into my church sanctuary and play drums and teach myself how to play drums. So,
So you initially just taught yourself then, yeah?
Oh yeah, I've never had a lesson. I wish I did, because I'd be so much better than what I am. But
bro, come on, you play fucking blindfolded. Shut up, okay?
Yeah, but
I mean, I'm not saying, but you are a phenomenal drummer. But I mean, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And plus, you've been playing for what, since 14? So what? You're how old now?
22 years now.
Oh my God.
Damn.
You're 22 years old? Holy
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, good math.
Did you play drums like that? That phrase, drive it like you stole it. If you could, that's how I describe you playing drums. You play it like you stole it.
Facts.
Hey, I like that.
I've never seen anybody play with a broken stick better. And he is like a drumstick serial killer, dude.
I play with a lot of broken stuff. So there's that.
And then you also go, yeah. That awesome. And you probably go through what, maybe a case and a half during a show, Darren?
No, that would be awful if I did. That's a lot of money.
He's just back there stepping on them just so he can
just snapping them and throwing them out.
You got your drumsticks.
No, I actually, as I've gotten older, you kind of realize, okay, that costs a lot of money, and then everything keeps going up. So it's like, I'm gonna conserve this. And as I've gotten older and playing, of course, a long time ago, I learned more technique than just looks. I guess
just beating the shit out of them.
Yeah, it's instead of
what technique are we still talking about drumming?
Hey, nice shirt, Scott.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I had another shirt on, but for political reasons, I decided, no.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I the way it happened was pretty much my mom would pick me up from like football, baseball, basketball, whatever it was.
Right.
And it was like during the week, and she was like super involved with things at the church during the week. Like it wasn't like a normal night. So it's not like 10 people were there, of course. And I would just be sitting bored, like what am I supposed to do? So I would sneak in the sanctuary when all the lights are off. Of course, you're not supposed to be in there. And I would go in there and go up on the drum. They had this big drum set, hodgepodge together, and they had a keyboard up there too. And so I turned the keyboard on. I kind of knew I knew what drums were. I knew the basics of stuff. Like, oh, that's what that is. It wasn't like I was on ground zero.
Right.
I kind of went up to the keyboard, and it had those like super generic
yeah.
And I would put it on, and then I would go in behind the drums, and I would mimic it. And that's kind of how it started. Well, I got caught one day in there by the minister and the music minister and the pastor. And they both came in, and I was doing like, obviously it probably sounded terrible, but I was doing this drum roll, and I went around, and like I ended kind of like, like Wayne's World when God goes around. Doing one of those like things, and then all I heard in the background was like this clapping, and I was like, oh my God, who's here? And they were like, well, Mr. Dye, it looks like you know how to play drums. Looks like you're playing for us this Sunday. Thank you. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I never played a song in my life, and so that now I'm, shoved into playing with this choir and praise band. And it was, granted, obviously it wasn't like the hardest stuff, but like for me, like I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
And all I knew how to do was like twirl my stick, and that's before the hair. Like this is before
the hair.
Yeah, before the image. So luckily I had a really, really great semi-mentor. He was a really amazing guitar player, a great family friend. Long time ago, he passed away, but he was literally one of the best musicians I ever knew, and he kind of guided me through that because he knew so much about music.
Right.
And he just, he'd bust my chops all the time, and that's just kind of what he did. And but it made me it helped me become who I am, of course.
It was kind of, would you say, tough love per se? Not really, with a mentor.
Yeah. He wanted me to fall on my face.
Right.
He was like, oh yeah, try that move, and it didn't work, of course.
Right.
And he was just like, how'd that work out in front of 200, 300 people? And it's like, well,
Right.
So I will say though, as a blessing, my first gig or performance was in front of a couple hundred people compared to just in your garage or something. So
right.
I will say that was cool, but like, whoo, like there was some growing pains I had to learn really quick.
Well, let me ask you this. Since then, and all the shows that you've played since then, what's been your favorite?
Well, that's tough.
Now, I'm not going to say favorite. I'm not going to say favorite venue because we're not doing that. I'm just saying favorite show, favorite, whether it was, with.
It's got to be Rocklahoma.
I mean.
Did you say Rocklahoma?
I'm being sarcastic. I'm just saying that because
no,
it's
going
on
sir.
right now.
If
he wasn't there for load-in. He wasn't there for load-in, bud.
Tornadoes and mud.
He wasn't there for load-in.
Oh my God! I will say, okay. Side note, I'll get to that question, but side note about Rocklahoma, I will say to the people that actually were there, and we pulled it off, and it was pretty cool. I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms to talk about. Maybe one day we can talk about that one. But like, this system of events that happened for that was just like. That is so Spinal Tap. Like, I don't even know how else.
I'm surprised you weren't in a pool drinking a bottle of vodka.
Dude, everybody in charge of logistics didn't even know what the word logistics meant. It sounded like.
Say that again, Scott.
I said everybody that was in charge of logistics probably had no idea what the word logistics meant. I didn't understand what kind of. I was like herding, rats.
Oh no!
Oh, it was so bad. Like, so here's the weird thing about it. Now. Okay, getting Rocklahoma, yes, it's an amazing opportunity. But if you are, a lot of people don't understand there's multiple stages at Rocklahoma, and it's changed over the years too. So like I had some buddies that played it like over 10 years ago, and it was amazing. Like it was like it was like everyone was helping each other. Everyone was like, it was just different apparently.
Right.
Well, so without naming names, of course, the reason why we got the reason why we even went to this thing was was strange. And we were like, okay, so we're not playing, obviously, we're not on the main stage, of course, but we're
Right.
playing the VIP stage. Okay, well, cool. VIP stage. That sounds amazing. Like, that's awesome. Then, you see, like, okay, this is where the campground, this is where everything is. Okay, it's going to be good,
Yeah.
Needless to say, no, it wasn't, of course. But luckily, we had another promoter there that actually got us to another state, which was even bigger and better,
Mm-hmm.
which was awesome. Like, that was
Yes.
cool. But
Yes.
I will say, it's in the middle of Pryor, Oklahoma, and it's
Yes.
like a floodplain, and it's
Yep.
mud, and it's like Woodstock. Like,
Yeah, it exactly was. And my favorite thing from that entire was the fact that we were loaded in, loaded out, maybe not even 45 minutes.
not even.
But the show, you guys started, and we had maybe about 20, 30 people standing around. By the end of it, you had over 200 people in that tent.
Oh yeah, I heard it was. I mean, it could have been more. I don't know, but
It was
like
probably maybe way over but yeah.
Yeah, because by that point it was definitely nighttime, and you couldn't see really past the tent. So
Mhm.
like they luckily it was covered. Thank God it was
Yes.
covered. But
Yeah.
like water had run in underneath of it and all that. So, but man, it was a fun time. The funniest thing, okay, we were we were supposed to play 2 nights. Like, that was supposed to be our our 2-day thing, and that's why when I flew in, I flew into Tulsa. Fred picked me up, took me to Pryor. We got the hotel, right? Because
Mhm.
like I told him, like, I like camping. Don't get me wrong, I love camping. But if I have to perform and play, I don't want to be out there. It's just not my thing. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay in the hotel. So I was the diva of it, but whatever. Well, so I get there. I got there the night before. I think that's what happened. Or either that, or I flew in right before it. And Fred picked me up and drove me. You guys were separate, but like the band was driving up too. They
Mhm.
got there before, like literally right before us, and
Mhm.
Fred's pulling in, and Brad calls, just like, you guys might as well just turn around. And we're like,
It's always a great
Like,
start.
if I'm not mistaken, your drum riser originally wouldn't even fit on the original stage.
no,
It was a
okay,
trailer,
so
wasn't
okay, before you even go, I know we're getting off tent, but this is too
Hey,
good. So
that's the purpose of this show.
That's what this show's
There
about,
is no
man.
topic, man.
Exactly.
This is whatever the fuck we want
So
to
we
talk
pull up thinking it's a stage, and it's
Yeah.
technically just a flatbed trailer that is sunken down into the ground because of the mud. The crew that were there, like, bless their hearts, they were trying to make this thing work with this PA that was like, I mean, it was literally, they were having to put like boards underneath of it because it was sinking into the ground, and it's like,
Right.
well, where's the stage? We thought, oh, we're in the wrong spot. Like, no, because technically it is a good spot to be in, because it's like right there beside, the way they had it was like right there beside the, what was that other one, where Lita Ford played? I think it was the saloon stage or something like that.
Yeah. Saloon
Where
stage.
where everyone literally had to go around you to get
Mhm.
into where they had to go. So that's why they called it a VIP stage. So in theory, it would have been good if it was an actual stage, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And we were like, I remember going, yeah, sorry, nope, I'm not getting up there. And because I was like, first off, I don't want my drums destroyed. Second off, there's no way it's going to sound okay. There's no way.
Right.
It was very like miscommunication, very unprofessional. Like, it was just
Right.
not cool,
Right.
right? No hard feelings, of course, but like, I'm just not doing it,
Right.
So like, luckily the other promoter, that who we had played for before, was
Right.
there, hosted another stage. He got us on, and the rest is history. But yes, that was absolutely hilarious. Then, so we only got to play one night, because what happened was they bumped a bunch of bands, or a couple bands or something like that, and we got the slot. So when we got it, that was it. We were done. So, but I couldn't change my flight because of the weather that was happening.
Mhm.
The
Because you
tornado.
guys got caught in the tornado.
Yeah.
And man, God, thank God you guys are okay. But like,
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we even at one point they had everybody, all the sheriffs and security guards and everybody going around and getting everybody up to the front where the bathrooms and the shower were.
yeah, everybody was crammed in there like cattle.
And me and Anthony, the funniest thing happened. Me and Anthony looked at each other, and I said, "Die together," and he said, "Die together," and we cheers. And I said, "Bro, let's go outside. I'm not about to get crammed in there like a sardine with 150, 200 people
In a circus, man.
in a 60. No, it was a 60 stall shower, dude.
Yeah.
Like a shower.
Dude,
And I was like, and the security guard was like, "Hey, you guys can't be outside." And I looked at him and said, "I'm sorry, I'm a grown ass man. If I want to stand outside and watch a tornado come, I'm gonna do it." And Anthony was like, "Yeah, like." But it was I remember that it was an eventful weekend. I don't know, that one in Vegas are tied for first, honestly.
Vegas, man. The best thing about Vegas was Fort Redline. That was it. That's the best.
Yep.
The best thing.
Yep.
TJ with Fort Redline.
One of the coolest thing for me, I think, was to see you guys on the marquee.
That was cool.
Walking by. Cool. I still have a picture of it on my phone.
I saw I was just thinking that the other day. One of my favorite pictures is the Ridgely Theater with Quiet Riot.
Yeah.
And then you guys right below him with was it Rachel Stacey that night too?
Yeah.
That I will say recently, that's one of the best shows.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool. Fred did an awesome
That's
job.
one thing I liked about here is the Fat Daddies and everything are fine, but man, the historical venues that you guys have played, like the Haltom, and then up into the Rail at some point, even though that's sort of lost its luster, but Ridgely has just been around forever. I think even Elvis played there like back in the late 50s.
Yeah. I mean, there's a theater here. I'd love to get the guys in. I'm
sorry. Where are you from?
What's up, EB?
I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. That's
Roll Tide.
That's where the championships are, baby.
I was just waiting for it. I was just waiting for it. All right. Yeah. Well, okay. So for today, like I said, we were gonna dive in a little bit, but let me ask you this: so, what got you into watching wrestling? Whether it was professional wrestling or,
Oh, it was definitely like, so I was born in '86, so I got the tail end of everything of the '80s era, right? That kind of bled into the early '90s, like super early. SummerSlam '92, right? Remember that? That was a big one. And I was a really, really big Ultimate Warrior fan.
Okay.
And I loved Macho Man Randy Savage because he was more of a high flyer. He was one of the guys that was able to do that. Hulkamania, that was cool. But man, I was always for the other guys, mainly because I just that kind of resonate. The way they cut promos was super cool. Well, I will say Ultimate Warrior is a little crazy. So.
Well, I mean, between him and Macho Man, if you go back and look, him and Macho Man actually tagged up for a little bit, and they together cut some of the craziest promos you've ever seen. I mean, because it's them talking back and forth.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, especially mixed with steroids. You know what I mean?
Look, I mean, and as you're a kid, you don't know that. So like, these people are just like larger than life, of course. So. I think that's what got me in, and I really liked vintage Sting, vintage Sting, like the high top, super cool colors,
yellow and black.
Yeah, man, I love that. And then I wish.
Fun fact about Sting: he paints his own face. He's been doing it since the beginning.
Yeah, I know.
He doesn't have anybody professionally come in. He's same thing with like the guys from Kiss. Guys from Kiss have been painting their faces since the beginning.
Well,
I mean.
Anybody to do it.
But I think it was those guys. Anybody that was high flying, like of course that's what I loved, is being fast and agile.
Jimmy Fly the Snooker.
Yes, but
they're all the ones
Steamboat,
the Rey Mysterio Juniors and Eddie Guerrero's.
Yeah, Ricky Steamboat was a really great one too. I really liked.
I mean, honestly, Steamboat Macho Man WrestleMania 3 has to be one of the best matches from that pay-per-view. WrestleMania 3 was where Hogan takes Andre and slams him, but nobody talks about the Steamboat match because literally it was 172 steps from start to finish. Ricky the Steamboat still has it on a piece of paper that him and Macho Man sat down and wrote down 172 steps from start to the pin.
Yeah, like all their marks and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what got me into it. But I will say, what really, really, really solidified everything was the Rockers with Shawn Michaels, because Shawn Michaels was it for me. Like,
yeah.
And I love the whole Rockers look because like that. I mean, honestly, the cool fringe and the crazy colors, like I love that. And then I'll never forget watching. I mean, I was really young, but like obviously, wrestling would you could catch it, you know, different times when or people record it on their
Right.
tapes.
Right.
And I remember watching Sean, kick Marty Jannetty through the the barber's
Yeah,
shop.
man.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like he's not a bad guy. But then, but as I watched it, I was like, I like this character. Like this is who I want to be.
No, and see Shawn Michaels, and when he was with the Rockers and that transition to that's kind of, in my opinion, is what started the Attitude Era just a little bit, not a lot, because you didn't really fully go into the Attitude Era until King of the Ring. I think it was 99 where Stone Cold was like, John 3:16 for your Bible verses, but Austin 3:16 means I just whooped your ass. And everybody was like, oh my God, how could you say that? And then it just steamrolled in, and that came into with WCW starting and the Monday Night Wars and, Stone Cold versus The Rock. That was a big rival in the 90s, especially with Shawn Michaels coming in, and then DX starting with Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Chyna and Road Dogg and all those guys.
Okay, so what got me into wrestling was obviously the early stuff, but what really, really, really kept me in my era of wrestling is pretty much 94 to 98, really. Okay. Like what I really, really like, because it was mainly the rise of Shawn Michaels is what all I really cared about. Shawn and Bret Hart was my second favorite. And it was because they were two completely different wrestlers, but they were so methodical. Both of them were so methodical in how they presented their show and how they presented the act. And then, my favorite match from them was the Iron Man match. Like, oh my God. Like, you imagine going an hour. Like that is peak physical condition.
I mean, I probably couldn't even last 5 minutes in a ring.
Oh, honestly. Shoot. First slam, man. Like,
bro, it's not even the slam, it's the cardio.
It's the cardio. First chop across my chest.
I don't know if I got chopped by an independent wrestler back in the day at Hawk's birthday out at Redneck Heaven one year. Anthony's friend.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was fun. But see, the thing is, with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, they had it to where it was Canada versus USA. You know what I mean? Where, and then the Montreal Screwjob came in just because Bret wanted to leave and go to another company, because at the time WWE was only paying their superstars a certain amount of money versus they're paying you XYZ, but they expect you to travel 360 days a year.
Yeah, there was that, and him seeing, like, Bret seeing the direction that they were going, and he didn't really like it, because Bret never really wanted to be a villain.
No.
So what happened? Which was kind of cool with the whole DX thing, is everything got switched, and everyone started rooting for that anti-hero type thing, because they weren't bad, but they weren't good either. Like they weren't like
well, they saw how good
they weren't like the Brood. You remember Edge and the Brood and all
yeah.
that? It wasn't like they were evil and all that stuff, but they were just a bunch of clowns, and like
I mean, honestly, it was the way I perceive it now, like you said, being a kid and watching it, you don't really understand it fully, but being a big wrestling nerd that I am now and going through all the documentaries and everything else, it was the fact that they were saying stuff and doing stuff to the corporate America that, as you could be watching and be like, man, I wish I could tell my boss to suck it.
And that was for everybody.
You know what I mean?
It was for the mom that wanted to tell her crying kid, suck it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of getting up and feeding you. It was for the librarian that was tired of putting books up at the library. She was like, suck it. It was so universal. Everybody could relate to it.
Yeah. I think,
and like you said, it made the villain the good guy. And then it's like it all transpired back. Like what really got me back into wrestling a little bit was like the Wolfpack. I didn't care about the WCW and NWO, all that. But when they split off and made the Wolfpack with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, there ain't no better, than, say hello to the bad guy.
Yeah.
and that was happening literally at the same time. So
Yeah,
like,
so
what a
it's almost
time.
like they were feeding, like Marvel and DC, how they always have the same characters with different variations,
Mhm.
you know, and it's
But the cool thing about that time and like being alive at that time and being into it, like it's never, and I'm gonna say this, it's never going to be like that ever
Oh
again.
no,
I
no,
mean,
no.
granted, I heard that obviously Triple H and Shawn are pretty much over everything now over at WWE because Shawn's got
So
new
what
talent,
happened about 2 weeks ago? Vince stepped down
right?
because initially what happened is back. You remember Sable?
Oh yeah, I remember
Okay,
saying.
say everybody does, right?
I still got that's the only.
He's probably the only
I have.
Playboy. I was gonna say that's the only Playboy anybody should.
I got
have.
tricked into buying the China
But
one.
they, you got tricked to buy
I'm sure. I'm sure they really pulled your arm, you know.
Yeah,
to buy
right.
Oh,
it.
dude,
Yeah,
it was weird.
yeah.
I thought it was like the country.
Oh
I
man!
was like, man,
Oh
it's
my
a
god!
lot of booze.
No, but so Vince apparently had an affair with Sable back in the day, and was like, "Hey, shh, here's 5 million out of the WWE money, not my money, but here's 5 million from the company, hush money." Now there's been about 6 or 7 other female wrestlers that have come out to say the same thing. So now Vince has stepped down and gave Triple H full power. And so Triple H is CEO, and then Shawn Michaels is president and in charge of talent relation now. So
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels is actually picking and choosing. But now what they're doing is they're bringing people back that Vince released about 2 years ago because of just money situation and just a bunch of BS. Like there was no reason to get rid of people because there was one guy named Braun Strowman, and he's 6'8", 375 pounds. And when he
It's a tiny dude.
yeah, he's a little, but whenever
He's
he
like
got
an inch taller than him.
right, when he
I'm
was
almost there.
yeah, right, yeah, I mean, absolutely. But when he got released, his contract was over $1 million a year.
Oh.
But you also got to factor in they don't pay for their or they have to pay for their travel, they have to pay for their food, they have to pay for their hotel, their injuries unless it happens in ring. Other than that, you know. So, but I mean, once the Attitude Era started to fizzle out, you went into the 2000s, and it kind of. But you got to look at, you had, like he said, you had Eddie Guerrero, then came Chris Benoit, then Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko, Saturn. All those guys came from WCW because that's just what it was. Because Vince bought up WCW in the early 2000s.
And it's amazing that they were never investigated, for monopolizing. It's like
it's so weird.
Your competition. Target can't buy Walmart. Walmart can't buy Target. But he could go around, and I'm actually impressed with how AEW's been. And I guess they're a local with Louisiana, Texas, because I always see them. They're always down here more than they are anywhere else.
No, they're Georgia based.
Yeah, they're Georgia because
Cody Rhodes
and
who is now back with WWE actually.
Yeah, weird. But then Jericho's
Well, Jericho helped start. It was Chris Jericho, Cody Rhodes, his brother Dustin, Dean Ambrose, who's John Moxley now, and those were like the key factors when AEW started. That like Tony Khan had the money and he just needed those wrestlers, and then those wrestlers' names brought other people on. CM Punk, Darby Allin, a bunch of Sting. I mean, Sting still wrestles. He's 60-something years old and still flying over the top rope.
Who wants to be on that card, dude? I'm not getting my ass beat by a 60-year-old man on a nightly basis.
My buddy, I don't watch wrestling anymore.
Like a woman, dude. You're a no-win situation.
I actually, the only wrestling I really watch is just old stuff. Like if I want to go back and watch some stuff, I will. I actually have a couple box sets, Shawn Michaels box sets that I have. I really like those.
Wow.
And I'll show them to you. Want to see them?
Yeah, I want to see it because yeah, for sure.
I've got.
All right, so actually, I have a few. Actually, hang on. No, I have one of the coolest things. Okay, so I'm going through the stuff here that I've been dealing with. Right, obviously losing my family, and I'm having to fix a lot of things. Well, I'm uncovering things that I've stored for years, and one of them is. It's funny that we're talking about this because it's wrestling. So hang on.
That's so funny.
Dude, I'm intrigued.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
All right, so all right, so here
He
you
pulls
go.
out a Stone Cold Steve Austin porcelain doll.
No, nice.
Holy crap!
Nice.
Look
Wow.
at the look, old Sega.
Claim.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's the Razor Ramon.
Dude, I definitely need to get you a VCR.
I have one. I still got it. I still got it. So
How about-
that was
how about
my
this?
first.
Hey, what about this? A Stone Cold Steve Austin porcelain doll with a belt.
With the
That
smoking
is creepy.
skull
Is
belt.
what that is.
That is creepy as hell, dude. We're
That
going to
is
start
creepy.
doing October's going to be Doll in the Hall. So my wife's going to wake up tomorrow and this is going to be sitting in the hallway.
I mean, I did make you a cool logo for
That
it.
is
I mean,
badass.
I was about to say, everybody,
Everybody-
please, hats off to this man. He made us a bomb ass logo and changed the name of the show because he's brilliant.
You might want to research it and make sure it's not taken. Just saying. I don't know.
Right. I don't think it is. I mean, it could be. I don't know, but I will.
There's no bigger compliment than
Yeah.
a cease and desist order.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Right.
true.
Yeah, we should know about that.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And so I got these two. This has everything from 1. Is it 1 to 10 or 1? Yeah. Or
It's
no,
1 to 10. Yeah.
No, it's 1 to 14.
Oh, 14.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
even better.
There's an X. This is the one. It goes all the way up to where Sean dropped the belt to Stone Cold.
Yeah.
So, I got these two way back in the day, actually here in Tuscaloosa at a old shop that Rock and Roll Express.
Right.
Do you remember those wrestlers? Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I
Rock
saying
and
it
Roll
right?
Express.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his name? Ran the shop, and he was in
Ricky.
Tuscaloosa.
Ricky
And-
Nolan.
No, you're talking of the
Midnight
Rockers.
Express.
That's the Rockers.
Okay.
Not the Rockers, the other guys.
Think
God, what were their?
Yeah, Google Magic, my friends.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know why I can't remember his name. But anyway, he was selling these. He had a whole back when WWF
Yeah.
was releasing all these VHS. I got these two. So I still got them. They still work.
Was the guy that owned it? Was it Ricky Morton, the shop, or was
Yeah.
it Robert Gibson?
That was it.
No, it was. Man, it's been so many
It's
years.
it's all good, man. But I got you. Yeah, no, dude. I would laugh so hard if you and Chris cut your hair like that.
Oh, and you come out on stage.
Like,
the mullets.
Yeah, dude.
So I actually have I've actually teased it for a long time that you're never guaranteed if you're going to keep your hair, of course. So it could happen to anybody, right? Well, if I
Right.
ever cut my hair, I think I'm going to go in stages, and the first will be a mullet. Hang on. I think the way you have to do it, I think first would have to be a big mohawk. I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah.
And so I would keep everything right here, right?
Top and
Well,
shake
then the
side.
second stage would obviously this come out, and then
Yeah.
I would do a mullet.
Yeah. Also, I'd like the viewers to know that no matter where Drew is, he has to have a fucking fan on it.
Okay, I thought you guys were going to say something. The AC's out here, and I have
that sucks.
3 fans in
So your hair's
Alabama.
just blowing naturally.
Yeah, no.
I should have let it go, right? I should
It's
just
right.
no.
It's like
well,
on the side, it's like a bunch of Disney birds with fans.
Right.
blowing it.
Oh my god. Oh
So,
my god.
yeah, no, it's about 80 degrees in this house.
Now
It's
let me
pretty
ask you this: when you got into watching wrestling, was it because of anybody in the family? Was it like your dad, your grandfather, just you?
It was me. I remember my dad. Obviously, he was cool with it because that's back when wrestling was cool, though.
Right.
You had all the big names. So he was, if I got little wrestling figures, I actually still have them. I have the ring and all that stuff,
Dude, you might have a little small fortune. Just saying, depending on what
Maybe.
you have.
But I got a lot of stuff. I got a lot of Stone Cold stuff. I got a lot of DX stuff, a lot of Shawn stuff, Brett stuff.
Yeah.
I collected a lot, and Dad was always supportive of that, and he and he did take me to one wrestling match. There was one wrestling match we could go to. He worked all the time. He was a coal miner for 30 years, and so a lot of times he was working. So anytime that I got to go to his house for his weekend, it was, anytime I could, I was just wanting to spend time with him, and like, so we didn't really go. We did some stuff, but not like that. And also, I don't remember them coming to Birmingham a lot, because Birmingham's the closest thing that anyone would come to back in those days. WCW came through a lot more because WCW was through Atlanta.
Yeah.
But WWE now is New York.
Connecticut.
So I didn't see WWE in person, but I did get to see WCW Thunder once.
Okay.
That was cool.
Nice.
And Diamond Dallas Page was the big one then.
Dude.
So I got to see Diamond Dallas Page. And that was when the Giant, Paul, what's his name? Was
Paul White.
Was on the bill too. So I got to see them too. And I think this was 1998, 7.
Yeah. I think the last show I went to was Hampton Coliseum, and it was Monday Night Raw. It was the night that everybody left and raided WCW.
Oh, cool.
At the Scope. And when they showed up in the Humvees and everybody in X-Pac and all them were
dressed. You got to see that show?
I was there, dude. We were in the audience when they drove out of the building, and it was a 25-minute drive across the bridge into Norfolk from Hampton to go to the Scope. And they had them all. I don't know if they ever got in.
No,
we'll see.
They showed it because the thing is if going back now, like Eric Bischoff and Vince have already said before that they wish they could have actually played it the right way and actually let WWE invade WCW, because it would have shot the ratings up for both of them.
Oh yeah, it'd been stupid.
But see, the crazy thing is it got to a point in the 90s where WWE, and the main reason why they changed their name is because the WWF is, most people don't know, World Wildlife Federation.
Right.
Vince just didn't want the headache in court, or the bad publicity or whatever. But back whenever the 90s and stuff took off, and the Nitro and everything else, I mean, when, like he said, monopolized, like Vince is, say what you want to say about the man, he's like one of the smartest businessmen when it comes
everybody that's
to wrestling.
Everybody that is successful, everybody owes their success to P.T. Barnum.
Yeah.
It's, you don't have to have a show, you just have to put on a show.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And see, the crazy thing is now you look at the program they have on now, and it's a lot of, they're trying to imitate the 90s. They're trying to bring back the Attitude Era without actually doing it, because they can't show half the stuff they did on.
Now they're on.
Well,
Disney.
with cancel culture now, which is so dumb. Like you're not gonna.
Godfather back then.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How funny.
Shout out to Bear. Shout out to Bear. Charles Wright, aka the Godfather, aka Papa Shango. Smoke train all day, every day. Just saying.
What was the meme I saw where it was something about? Can you believe that we lived in an era where there was a pimp, a vampire brood, strippers, and something else all on one program, and it was anyone could watch it. Like that's.
Yeah. And now my favorite one I saw last week, it was like, hey, the guys that are telling us to suck it are running the company now.
So I mean, that doesn't give you hope. I don't know.
But I mean, honestly, Triple H has been in Vince's back pocket doing that since the early 90s, because he and Stephanie did that marriage thing online, or where they got married or whatever, and he ruined her wedding back in the 90s during the Attitude Era. But in reality, he actually started falling for her
when that happened.
What was it? Was it 2000s?
Yeah, because I stopped watching. Like, I remember when Shawn dropped the belt to Stone Cold at WrestleMania in '98. Like, because he was injured, like he was retiring, and I was like, well, that's it, I'm done. And about that time, I was running into, that was middle school for me. So I was like, I don't know, my interests were already changing anyway, for sure. So like, I was like, whatever, no big deal. But then he would come back, and he was the commissioner for a little bit, and he would like cause trouble here and there. And I thought it was funny, and I thought, oh, okay, this is cool. But I stopped watching after that, because then Shawn didn't come back until 2003. And he had a really great comeback, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And he did the whole thing against Triple H and stuff. But I thought the whole marriage thing was around that time, or a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought it was around 2000 something. I don't know much about that. So
well, it became very fourth wallish, because one of my main things is you have that group of people, the same ones that want to point out to you that wrestling is fake, are the same ones that can't wait to tell a kid there is no such thing as Santa Claus. Spoiler alert.
yeah.
So
it's a show.
It's a show. You understood it. But when it got into the late 90s and the early 2000s, when they started playing off that, well, if they already know it's fake, well, fuck it. Let's have Stone Cold fly in on an inflatable dragon, and they started pushing the boundaries, and it started tying in. It became, I want to say, like everybody says, Christmas became commercial, and so did wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, when Stone Cold came in, God bless him, but somebody was paying for all them Steve Weisers, and Coors and whatever. And so it became more of a, they started pushing their products, and it was,
but then also you got to think too. I mean, Stone Cold kind of pushed the merchandising, because the Stone Cold, what a 316 shirt is still to this day the #1 selling shirt in the company's history.
Yeah.
Like everybody and anybody had a shirt like that back in the day.
No, and like his vest. Up until that time, the only time I saw a vest like that was in that club and police academy that they always kept tricking the captain to go into. And I never wanted one.
Yeah.
Until and I've got one in there now with the smoking skull and on the back.
Yeah.
Never wear it.
But
I wear it to the next Red Line show.
It's literally it's so crazy now, because like he said, fourth wall. I mean, that was, you didn't see until Bret Hart went over to WCW. You didn't know that was possible. You didn't wait. You're like, wait, he was on WWF programming 2 months ago. Now he's with WCW. And then next thing you know, everybody started coming over. And
well,
I don't think it started with Bret. I think it started with Hogan. I think it was Hogan first that did it. But I mean,
well, the big one. I mean, yeah, that was really, really big too. But like, obviously you had when the Clique moved over.
When they merged,
Nash
and draft
and all that was a big thing. And I think back in the day, like when they talk about kayfabe and stuff, like I honestly, when I was younger, like I knew obviously it was fake, but there are some real elements to that business.
And
there's some people that
fake getting thrown 30 feet from the top of a cage to a table.
Oh yeah, Mankind, Undertaker, Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, and they get hurt for sure.
Yeah,
they all don't get along.
I don't want to rehearse landing on thumbtacks. That's going to be a one take and done.
Yeah, you better get it now.
Well, see, the funny thing is about that is there's actually so Randy Orton is on the roster now. His dad was a wrestler, Cowboy Bob Orton. Randy's been around since 2000, maybe 99. And he actually did a match with Mankind, and he was going to do thumbtacks and was talking to Ric Flair about it. And Ric Flair was like, don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it.
Damage.
It's gonna suck. And Randy was like, man, whatever. You're just old and da-da-da. Randy went out there and he said the very first time, bro, because they told him, like Scott said, to practice it. Like, you need to take a thumbtack and go sit on it. Like, go sit on it a couple times so you get that initial sting out. And Randy didn't do it. So the very first slam, he gets up and he's got about 40 or 50 of them in his back, in his neck, in his ears.
That's when I walk over, I shake the guy's hand, and I just walk back up the ramp and I leave.
I'm done.
Like, you come in the next week and we're like, you want paper or plastic with that?
Right.
Yeah, Scott's contract would be the shortest ever.
No.
Oh, yeah. And see, that's another thing, too, is you got to think back in the 90s, the contracts were a little lucrative, but then WCW was like, oh, you think that's lucrative? How about we'll pay you double / you only have to travel half the time? Like,
yeah, but from what I understand, like, I didn't know at the time, but looking back, it's actually very interesting, like, through these DVDs I've got and stuff like that. They were in documentaries that they've done since. They talk about it was like they were corralling so many people, but then they didn't get any work. Like these guys were, I'm with WC or I'm with this, and then they're just not getting any work. And so
Undertaker's prime example. Undertaker started in WCW. and he got renewed for a contract, and he thought he was going to get a little bump, and nothing happened. And he was like, man. And then the guy in charge at WCW looked him straight in the eyes and said, Mark, nobody's going to pay to ever see you wrestle.
Oh, yeah.
Bro. And he had a 30-year career with WWE and is one of the best performers to ever do it.
Yeah, you say The Undertaker, you say that name, and like everyone knows who exactly.
Yeah, there's a couple of names in professional wrestling that have changed, like pop culture icons. Undertaker's one, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. Like those 4 right there, you can literally. That's if you're not a wrestling fan. If I say Ric Flair to somebody, 90% of the time they're gonna go woo. Like it's just it's natural.
Yeah,
so
that's for sure, man. I mean, I like my knowledge of wrestling. Obviously, is just mainly back then, of course. I've kind of tried to watch, like definitely nothing recent. And when I mean recent, I'm talking probably 6-7 years ago.
Okay.
Like the last time I tried to watch.
Well, even then, I'll tell you now, as a fan, still, as I watched WWE had a pay-per-view last night, Clash at the Castle. It was in UK at a castle in Scotland.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was really the last time they were there was SummerSlam '94 or '91.
Oh,
that I don't know exactly what it was, but that was pretty interesting. But you also got to think too, back when in the '90s when we were watching, the females were just sex objects.
That's true.
Now the females are having ladder matches, they're having Hell in a Cell matches, they're having table matches, they're having Iron Woman matches. Like they're doing everything the guys are doing.
I mean that's great. That's awesome.
I
think that opens up doors for a different audience to actually want to watch wrestling, which is really cool.
Right.
I remember I remember Trish being one of the first ones to be very athletic.
Yeah.
Not only just a symbol, but being also athletic, which was super cool.
Right. Lita.
What was another one? Was it
Lita?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. She did a lot of high flying stuff.
Yeah, none of the women back in the 80s, like Scary Sherry and
Miss
Elizabeth, they didn't wrestle. They were just
the arm candy or the managers of the wrestlers, or the whatever. I can't remember what they call valets.
Yeah. Well, I remember. What was it? Was it WrestleMania? What was it? 10? I think it was 10 when Shawn and Diesel were fighting, when they were against each other, and Shawn brought Pam Anderson down, and Diesel brought Jenny McCarthy down. I think it was 10, if I'm not mistaken. That was when Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow fought. And that was super cool because Lawrence Taylor is one of my favorite football players, and he came over to wrestling, and he actually did really well. Like it was pretty cool.
You said Bam Bam Bigelow. Do you know the story about him saving children from a house fire?
I heard something about that before.
Yeah, he I don't know what year it was, but he ran into a house fire and saved like 4 kids and ended up getting like 3rd-degree burns all over his body.
Wow. That's a hero right there.
Yeah, man.
And he was the one that was in major pain, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Also in major pain.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Good. It's another good
shoot.
But no, they I mean for no, you're right. It was WrestleMania 10.
Okay. I didn't know. I couldn't remember.
And it's crazy because me and my wife, A&E has this thing going on right now called Legends and Rivals. And so they go over legendary careers, Undertaker. The last one was Lex Luger.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's got a crazy story.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just...
Considering the fact that, I found this out through the Dark Side of the Ring episodes on Vice, but I found out that Miss Elizabeth actually died in his house.
Whoa.
She OD'd in his living room.
I knew she OD'd, but I didn't know it was there.
Yeah, I know. Because they were dating at the time, and they were both popping pain pills. And it's kind of sad because, Lex Luger and also Shawn kind of have Shawn Michaels have the similar path. they both started wrestling, and then the drugs and the alcohol took over.
Mm-hmm.
But then they found Christ, and everything's good now.
No,
that's how Sean. That's why Sean. That's how Sean came back in 03, because before that, nobody wanted to work with Sean. Nobody wanted to even be in a ring with him because he was a dick.
It's so crazy though that's when that was my favorite Sean. Like that's the weird, not behind the scenes, obviously in ring though. Like he couldn't be matched. Like that was he was on freaking fire. Yeah, my favorite, and you know even before DX, like say like '96 when he got the belt. Yeah. Whenever he's doing the Royal Rumble and stuff, that he won the Royal Rumble twice in a row. Like those were, I love that era because like he was hustling.
Oh, like, dude.
Big time hustling.
Well, I mean, they still have to. I mean, even looking now at the company as a whole, you have to, if you're a championship belt holder, you're hustling no matter what. You got to go on press tours. You got to go, you know, kiss the babies, all that, sign autographs, go on radio shows, talk shows. You know, I mean, growing up back in the early 90s, you would turn on Conan O'Brien and you'd see Stone Cold or Triple H or, you know, or The Rock.
Yeah.
And, I mean, The Rock's got so many family members in this now. Like, it's unreal. Like, Usos, Roman Reigns, Nia Jax. Like, his daughter actually just started wrestling. So, yeah.
Nobody's brought up Ken Shamrock, dude.
Ken Shamrock.
Where he integrated UFC, one of the first UFC fighters to come into wrestling.
That's true. Because now, if you fast forward to look at it now,
what was it? The corporation?
Yeah, the corporation.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you look at it now, it's funny you say that because now there's Ronda Rousey in WWE.
Yeah,
but she looks.
But like I remember Ken Shamrock. I remember being scared of that dude because like
dude, right?
Freaking crazy.
It's like you talk shit on him, he looks at you through the TV. You're like, damn, he heard that shit.
Yeah. I mean, like he was mean. Like, he didn't. When he got everybody in the ankle, I literally thought he was going to break everybody's feet.
Oh yeah. And see, the thing is, it's same thing with like Kurt Angle. When Kurt Angle started doing it, there's some like you say, yes, we know it's a show. Yes, we know, but there's sometimes where you're watching it and you're like, ooh, that didn't look right, or ooh, that didn't.
They took a bullet pretty hard, yeah.
Yeah, I might twist my ankle getting up and walking out of this room. I can imagine.
There's an instant where Triple H ran down to the ring to break up a match back in the early 2000s, and he tore his quad muscle off the bone. And he still wrestled for an hour with a quad muscle just flinging around in his leg. Like,
dude, whenever I was playing, when I was playing football and baseball and all that growing up. I remember having some quad injuries, and it was the worst. Like
that's when I retired.
I didn't do anything extensive like that. I mean, thank God.
About 7 years ago, we were playing softball, and I tried to round a double out of a sloppy single, and man, I full on turned at first base, and both my quads went nope. And I hopped in the second and like laid on the ground until somebody came. Like they had to pick me up and carry me. And like when I sat down, I couldn't bend my knees.
Yeah.
I mean, so that was it. That was my last softball.
Awful.
So that's why I took up video games.
But I couldn't imagine being on a stage like in front of thousands and thousands of people and that happened. You know, like that's a whole nother element right there.
I mean, think about it this way. I mean, there's been musicians before, like Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters broke his foot during the performance, and they wrapped his foot on a cast as he continued.
Kept going. That's different, though. But like you're talking about,
Marilyn Manson got smacked in the back of the head with the guitar.
Yeah, he probably deserved it, though.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that goes without saying. It might have been part of the show.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, speaking of that, did you ever see the footage of him tossing his mic stand back at Ginger Fish whenever, like, have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's when they were actually fighting.
Yeah.
Like, knocked him out. Like, knocked Ginger completely out.
Yeah.
And they just kept playing.
Yeah.
Like, no, dude, get up and knock him out. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah, man.
No.
So when is your next let me ask you this. So you talked about LA Rocks a little bit. You have another band. I heard through the grapevine that possibly a couple new tracks coming. I know you probably can't say much, but
no, with Redline, we've got Redline Drive. We have obviously the album's been out for a little bit, but we are going to we've already been back in the studio. We got 2 tracks down. One
somebody who uses your songs in my videos. Let me
yes
how excited I am about that.
we got two tracks that we're hoping to release soon. One's already kind of out, which was kind of weird. I didn't think it got released yet, but it's had some. I can't remember the radio. I cannot remember.
97.1.
No, that was
that other one you shared it. I seen it a couple weeks ago or a week ago.
Yeah, it's
Played
something.
that monster rock and roll.
Yes, something like that.
It's almost like that guy that we met at the Rail Club. The guy that does the short-term memory that doesn't remember you.
Oh, Harry Rock Radio.
Yeah, it's almost like that.
Yeah. They've kind of they wanted to use it and stuff. So yeah, we're gonna have a couple tracks coming out, but we're also doing more soon as well. We're trying to figure out schedules right now because Brad's baby's on the way.
Yep.
So and then TJ is gonna be getting married soon.
Yeah.
So there's that.
That's gonna be a God Almighty. I don't know if I need to get my liver ready now or like that's gonna be a long night.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one though. But that's coming up, and then Chris and I obviously have the LA Rocks band going, and so we have to figure out our schedules. And we thought we had a date, but it's not available now. So I touched base with a contact of mine. There's something in the making for November, I think it is, and then December. Okay. As of right now. So
you talking Redline though, yeah?
Yes, I'm talking Redline. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yep. And then obviously that's shows, but with tracks as well. So
right.
We're trying to figure out if we're going to do another album right now or just release singles like we're doing right now.
We're
kind of prepare if we're just going to do it all in one thing, like an EP, or we're just going to keep doing singles. Because I mean, not to go on a crazy tangent, but like the music industry's changed a lot too. So we're definitely trying to figure that out. Like, oh wow, like even the big artists they're just releasing singles. They just
right. Instead of dropping albums, because wouldn't you say or agree that putting an album together is more time sensitive or more time crunching than just getting together for like 2 weeks and throwing a song together or 3 weeks or whatever it is?
Well, okay, so it just depends because every band works different, but it helps if you're prepared. It helps that you have everything down before you go in the studio.
Right.
There's been a couple instances that because of scheduling, I've flown in and literally like we've had scratch tracks like, hey, this is the concept, this is what we're doing. We need you to get drums down. It's like, okay, cool. So a couple days knock those out, and then like I don't even know what the final result is until it's out because like when I hear it, it is so raw and everything, just like the album. Like there was a lot of songs on the album that were like that.
Right.
And luckily it turned out great, of course. But you just
the new album is phenomenal, 100%. Yeah, and the artwork was done by Chris, right?
Yep.
Like it's really, really. I keep telling Fred that we need to get like shirts made with that artwork.
It's a very busy artwork though, so like shirts would be kind of hard. I think it'd be cool if we did like a black and white stencil of it, like it'd be all black and white, just the stencil. So, but yeah, that was an idea that came about with just how the songs were, because every single song is literally a truth song like that. It's real events that happen in every single song. Right. So kind of crazy to think about that, but But if you look at the artwork, it's the crazy carnival that went off the rails, and every single attraction, every single ride is one of the songs.
Right. So, yeah. No. Absolutely. Now, from the new album, which I think, oh man, I'm mixed between Backseat Cinderella and Electric Love, but I mean,
Backseat's mine.
Thank you.
Which one would you like?
That rough riff.
So. Man, all of them are really, really good. She Wolf is a favorite of a lot of people. A lot of people don't know the behind the scenes on everything with the album, but I will say, TJ wrote a lot of the tunes, and he did such a great job on it. And She Wolf was one of my favorites he wrote.
Right.
But that's like in a whole nother class over there. I think man, I love Backseat Cinderella, obviously, but
Yeah.
like I love it for the fact of the intro was cool,
Yeah.
and the arrangement of the song I really liked a lot. It was fun to write and kind of
Well, who did the intro? Is that
okay.
it?
So originally I did it, but that recording apparently went away,
Okay.
and I really wish they would have saved it because it would have been a really cool little back thing. Because I went in the studio and I did the voiceover. I wrote the script for it and did the voiceover, and then I'd like changed my voice and did it, and then I went into the booth and I said, "Hey, this is can we alter it a little bit?" And he got my voice so altered and it sounded so good, and I was like, "Oh, this is so funny!" Like I was cracking up. It was so good.
Hold
But
on. So time out. So originally in the original like rough cut of that song, the intro is your voice talking.
Yes. Like
Jeez,
I did all of it, and
they're like in love with that person.
It was
Oh
great.
yeah, dude. Like that girl's so hot.
I can't wait. I'm quitting my job. I'm gonna go find her. It's gonna be like Michael Scott trying to find the chair model.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I actually now what you're hearing on the track is not me, of course.
Right.
That was done by one of TJ's friends, a really, really, really great musician. So she's credited in the album. But she went back in and redid it, and then we kind of altered it from there because as we were talking, it was like, no, it'd be kind of cool to actually just have a girl on the track. I'm like, yeah,
Right.
but like
Right.
funny looking back now, it'd been
Yeah.
cool to have just that piece as a bonus track.
Yeah.
Like, hey, guess who it is? Like, guess
Yeah.
the member. Because
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
we had a ball that day, man. It was because I remember being at TJ's house and I was telling him, you know, when we were recording the songs, I was like, dude, I've got this really cool intro that I'm writing. What do you think? And like, I was like, I did it out for him, like I acted it out for him. And he was like, dude, that's freaking cool. And I was like, I really think it'd be really funny to go in the studio as a guy and
Right.
do that voice and make it
Right.
our own.
Right.
And we did, and it was cool. But we kind of went back and forth, and it was like, yeah, let's just have an actual girl on the track. So
Right.
It
It's
sounds
been hilarious at the show to just have like a black silhouette as a person as it's talking, and then as the lights come up, it's just Drew standing there with the mic.
Yeah, man.
So interesting you say that because was it Haltom? It may have been Haltom when we first when it was like Chris's first show, right? That Christmas show.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So it may have been. I think it was that one, and because that's when we played all the new tracks. And,
Yeah.
It was right before. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was before the album released.
Yeah.
And I think we played that. Man, my memory's so.
I just remember the show started with the
Right.
Christmas.
Okay.
I
So,
love that.
but because of that, this is the reason why that happened. Is I think it's this show. Man, my memory's so crazy, but we weren't sure that our intro was going to play. And so I was like, well, hey, if we're opening with Backseat Cinderella, I'll just get behind the kit. I'll do the intro. I mean, funny. I knew the script, so I could do it.
Yeah,
so,
you wrote it.
Right.
And I was like, but we were like, no, you know, we had a whole other thing together, like the Griswold thing, because I got Jeff over at Session Works to help me with the mixing and stuff.
Yeah.
Of that, because like it was just super funny. Like we had to do that, but then there was I don't know why there was a moment where we thought it wasn't going to work.
Right.
And it could have been that show, or it could have been another. I can't remember, but there was a time where I was going to sit behind the kit and do the intro, like, and no one. I
think you're right. I think your memory's not bad. I think it was a Haltom show because that was Chris's
first one.
Yeah, that was Chris's. So. Yeah, that was Chris's first show, and I mean, honestly, it's unreal how his vocals get.
Oh.
Like, I don't understand where his nuts are 90% of the time.
He's a monster.
You see him do it. It's not like, you're seeing him doing it with Redline, and you see him doing it with the shows through the week, and then all of a sudden, just on my Facebook, it pops up, hey, we're not doing anything tonight, so me and this guy are going to be doing a 4-hour acoustic set.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, good Lord.
Like, how much Bon Jovi can you sing? No, I'm just
Yeah, and here's the thing about that, about him and Brandon. You know, Brandon's one of the guitar players in LA Rocks.
Yeah.
He's a songbird. That guy has
Brandon can sing too.
Oh my God! Like those two together are insane, man. Like they're monsters. They
harmonize perfectly.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's dumb ridiculous. Okay, like when you go see their acoustic sets, the way it's just Brandon on acoustic guitar and Chris, and they're both singing, and they do acoustic versions of like a lot of like Van Halen, Warrant, a lot of Bon Jovi and stuff. Like, dude, it's great. Like they sound so good together. They do "Dance the Night Away" from Van Halen, and that's my favorite that they do.
I gotta now see. That's the thing is, Chris, I don't think they ever go live or anything, do they?
I don't know why they don't. But
I don't either, man. I don't either.
And Facebook's got it now to where as you go live, people can send donations. You can put all kinds of stuff up. You can just be like that there.
Not
with
like I didn't tell them that. So but I think that they work their butts off on that. And here's a crazy thing about LA Rock shows. They used to do, and this was before I was even in the band, it was like a regular thing that they used to do an acoustic set before playing. Like so Chris and Brandon had to do double singing duty before. Like they would maybe even only did like a 30-minute thing. But imagine like you're having to start work 30 minutes early and then put on a bigger show right after that. It's like Jesus. So those guys are troopers, man. I
mean, that's like we were talking the other day about how cool it'd be to have an LA Rocks Redline Drive show.
That'd be great.
And I understand it'd be exhausting because you would be pulling double duty. Chris would be pulling double duty. And the guys could kind of pull in and do, but like I was saying, just kind of do 4 or 5 songs from each one. Don't do like a full-on hour set. With encores and then go on, it'd just be like a nice mixture. And you guys are so tight and you know each other enough that you can all just kind of, and instead of just being up there, you could almost be up there together, almost like a new age, not new age, but like a new jam type session, like with Soul Shifter, how they kind of got started was with Weezer and all them just kind of hanging out with what's his face from the Toadies.
Oh yeah.
So it's one of those where I thought about it for all day until I actually had to say it.
Well, so our last show, when we, LA Rocks' last show in Dallas, when we came out there, I was trying to get Redline to technically open the night, start the night off and just do like a 30-minute, just a little 30-minute thing. It just didn't work this time. And it'd be really cool if we were able to do that because technically with Redline, the longest that we would play is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Longest because we're an original band, of course. So we have enough material to play. We could technically stretch it to 2, but it wouldn't be worth it. It's like an hour and a half is a good like headlining type set.
Right.
Well, LA Rocks is used to playing 3 hours straight.
Yeah.
So like no breaks, no nothing. So like it's not the time factor. It's more or less having to switch gears from putting on a show and then putting on, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like Chris and Brandon, the way they do it with acoustic stuff, granted, it's very low key, of course, but they still have to sing. They've still got to be up there in the register and sell this product because if they were terrible at that, no one's going to stay for the LA Rocks.
Right.
So they have to be on their game and phenomenal. So they do great.
Okay. Well, we're about to wrap it up, but before we go, last question, and then you can plug away again anything else you have. Out of LA Rocks and Redline, who is the worst to travel with?
The worst to travel with? Oh man!
We already know. One of your answers I already kind of know because I've been there, done that with dipshit before, but we're not talking about that. So, but currently, like between with Chris and the guys, and then and LA Rocks and in Redline,
What do you mean by worst though? Because I love all my boys. Like I love.
Okay, who's the most annoying on a long road trip?
Well, I actually, honestly, have not been on a long road trip with Redline because
Yeah,
I
because they
normally
came
fly
to
in
him.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You weren't in the van to Vegas. That's
No,
right.
I flew to Vegas.
That's right.
Yeah, me and TJ flew into Vegas, so we were not on the trip.
Oh,
Diva.
oh, we get it.
I would, if personalities wise,
Yeah.
I think I would get on Brad's nerves more.
Okay.
I love
Brad's the dad of the group, though.
right, and that's why I'm saying personality wise, me, like on a normal road trip, I'd probably be pretty quiet and whatnot. But if I have to be in a place for a long time, one space, I will get a little antsy. So like, if I don't have like like I normally keep like my iPad so I can watch movies and stuff.
Yeah.
But if I don't have something to keep my attention, yeah, I'd probably be like, oh, hey, what you doing, man? Hey, what's going on? So yeah, I would think I think I would drive Brad nuts probably. So
Okay.
I might be the one to be the bad one. I might be
Well, I mean, I don't know about bad. I wouldn't say bad. I think I've known you for 5 years now.
5 years there.
And in the 5 years, I think, you're the most, not demanding, but like from the stories that I've heard about
He's
him.
the most professional. He knows how shit needs to be done, and he expects shit to be done.
I'm a very
Well, that, and then also, but it's also the professional side with you, but also it cracks me up because I remember at one point, the right after Rocklahoma, we were talking about the next show in Dallas with Redline, and we were gonna fuck your hotel room up before you checked in, just to see what your reaction would be like mess up the sheets, go to the bathroom, not flush it, stuff like that, because you were very, 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 like, you have to make sure the bed's right, and like it's
Oh yeah, but
I mean, I can tell you, I dropped his drum riser like an inch when I was trying to get it out of the back of the trailer.
Oh, dude!
And oh my god, it was my birthday, and I thought he was going to make me cry. He's like, hey, let Anthony do that. You're fucking up my shit. And I'm like, dude,
no, you should have been there. Like I said, he wasn't there for Rocklahoma load-in, bro. When you had that 6 inches of mud going in and out.
Yeah, Rocklahoma, that's a whole nother story because we were all in hell there. So it wasn't just me. But yeah, no, I'm very particular, and I've gotten that way over the years because of stuff that's happened. So
right, no,
that's why I'm the way I am.
No, that's how most successful people are.
Right.
Well,
right.
And I let everybody just poke at it, so it's fine.
Right.
It's all good.
But hey man, we do appreciate the hell out of you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Sure. Dude, do this again.
Like I said, anything you want to plug, anything, shows coming up, like I said, your Twitter, your Instagram, anything, plug that in before we go.
If you want to add me on Instagram, just look up my name. I think it's DDie22. I think that's what my handle is. I started years ago, but you can just look my name up. I would love following. Reach out, say hi. It's cool. Thanks for having me, guys.
Video when I upload it later.
Say what?
I'll update all the links because later on this will upload as a separate video.
Yeah, and
I'll make sure all the links are in there for everybody to find you.
You can throw it all on there, man. I would love to see everybody at a show. So thanks.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the goal. Is, I mean, obviously, like you said, Brad's busy right now with new baby coming, and TJ's busy with wedding stuff. So, but eventually we're gonna go down the pipe and because I would love to have everybody on from Redline and LA Rocks eventually to go through the pipeline to get everybody on and talk.
Well,
whatever.
also just to put it in there too, Fred's health. Like, thank God Fred is getting better too. So that was a whole other thing why some stuff happened, but we won't go into that. But let's just say glad Fred's doing better.
Fred, if it wasn't for Fred, we wouldn't all know each other.
Well, it's not even that. Well, because Big Fred, like you said, for sure. He's
to be fair.
To be fair, yes. All right, man. Hey,
thank you guys.
Love from Texas. Have fun, be safe, and we'll holler at you down the road, brother.
Will do, man. Be good.
Thanks for everybody joining in.
Thanks for everybody joining in.
Another couple of weeks, I think we're going to be back to Call of Duty. New games going to be dropping right before, so I'm going to be giddy. Thank you, everybody.
Man.
Thank you, Drew.
Thanks, bro. We'll see you.
Fuck yeah. Dude.